This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Letterboxd.
This is Ben Sears from the Moviestate.com.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show each episode. You can find more of our work at ObsessiveViewer.com, and if you'd like to support what we do here, you can become a patron at patreon.com/ObsessiveViewer, where you get access to tons of exclusive content for Patreon supporters, such as at the $1 level, you get over 150 B-roll episodes of us just kind of shooting the breeze and talking about random topics. That is instantly unlocked at the $1 per month level. If you pledge $2 per month, you get that plus TV and book reviews and reactions that I do. I just recently posted a very long, extensive reaction recording to The Green Mile by Stephen King, and I've been doing Stephen King short fiction collection, so I have about 6 hours worth of audio in January alone just for Night Shift, his short story collection from the 70s. That's at the $2 a month level. And then at $5, you get all of that plus commentary tracks and immediate reviews and reactions to movies. I've been doing these car recordings for movies that I see in theaters, so that's fun. And then finally, at the $10 a month level, you get all of that plus early access to content and previously unreleased content as well. Again, that's at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. I'm your aforementioned host, Matt Hurt, and with me today is Tiny and recurring co-host and creator of the Moviestate.com, Ben Sears. How is it going, you guys?
It's good, man.
Wonderful.
Nice. So today on the podcast, we are going to be doing our 11th, I believe, Ebert's Great Movies List review section part thing for the podcast. We've been doing this for, I think, like a year and a half now, maybe 2 years now, kind of pre-COVID, I think, or right at the onset of COVID. But this episode, we're going to be covering 3 movies. We're going to be doing Psycho, Goldfinger, and Alien. But before we do that, we've got some business to attend to. We got to talk about the Oscar nominees. And Ben, I want to ask you how it's going at themoviestate.com.
We're doing good. Still trucking along. Site is still live. Hasn't been taken down by the deep state yet.
Nice.
So there isn't really a whole lot of new stuff coming out in February, but I've still got a bunch of stuff that I'll be posting. I guess this was technically January, but I have been dipping my toes into the graphic novel review world. Cool. Hoping to do some more of that in the next couple weeks.
You gonna do Mouse?
Mouse?
Have you not heard that kind of going around?
Oh boy. There's a school district, I think in Tennessee, that banned Mouse because it, I don't know, teaches anti-Nazi propaganda.
Oh, is that what that whole controversy is? Wow.
No, actually, believe it or not, my wife had not read it, and I guess I realized I have not read it either, but she just picked up the graphic novel version of it at the library today.
Okay.
But on the website, actually today I did this interview with this director of a documentary, a pretty interesting documentary called La List, which is about these extreme skiers, kind of in the vein of like Free Solo, that kind of thing, of these crazy people doing extreme sports. So I'll have that posted hopefully by the time this episode comes out.
Nice.
I'll do, there's a Shonda Rhimes show on Netflix coming out this Friday that I'll hopefully have a review out for, called Inventing Anna, which has Anna Chlumsky and Julia Garner. And then coming soon, we're doing a special feature featuring someone you guys may know.
Yeah.
all about some guy named Kurosawa.
Yes, Akira Kurosawa.
Matt, if you want to, I don't know, do you want to give a little overview of it?
Yeah, I will go ahead and go on record because I am so I'm notorious for having big lofty ideas and then no follow through. Starting at the end of this month, Ben,
Yeah.
on themoviestate.com, I am going to be contributing a total of 30 essays covering the work of Akira Kurosawa.
Dang.
Yeah, it is a project that I've been wanting to do, and I've been working on it for the last couple of months. Basically, each movie, I'm going to do an essay about it. Those will be like conventional reviews or my thoughts on it. But one of the things about it is that I'm going to kind of sort of loosely structure it after like a film festival programming. So like, it's not going to be just a chronological breakdown of all of his movies. It's going to be like the opening and closing film is going to be like the opening film is Throne of Blood, and then the closing film will be Ron, which are his 2 Shakespeare adaptations. And then I'm going to do a whole series of essays on his feudal Japan ones, his noir films, his post-war films, his early films. They're all going to be kind of grouped together. And this is kind of a project that I've wanted to do for a while. And it's something that I have been very interested in ever since I was a teenager, really. But it's a good excuse for me to finally fill all of those Kurosawa gaps, because I do count him as one of, if not my favorite filmmaker of all time. And there's stuff that I haven't seen from his work, and I just want to plug those gaps. And I will say, spoiler for that, there is a movie that I watched for the first time that I rated 5 stars. It's incredible. Like,
wow,
from his filmography. So I'm excited for that. And Ben, thank you so much for hosting it over on your site.
Sure.
And then I think we're going to do companion podcast episodes. So look forward to that in the coming weeks on Obsessive Viewer. But yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Likewise. Cool.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting.
Yeah, still need to name it, but we'll figure that out.
I've read through a couple of them so far, and they're all really great. So
nice, thank you.
People, be on the lookout.
You could call it Kurosinit.
Yeah,
still got to come up with a name for it.
Kurosawa.
Kurosawa, I hardly know. I don't know. No, Ben had a really good idea for one called Blood and Rain. And I've been trying like that. That's pretty good. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You could call it Happier Valley.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to think of like a fun. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. So we'll see, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited to have a platform to, share my thoughts on Kurosawa as a 35-year-old white man in America. I think that I'm the defining voice for this Japanese filmmaker.
It's a perspective that it's been missing, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so your guys' homework is to watch Throne of Blood, and in the coming weeks we'll have an episode about that, and you'll get to read my essays as well.
Hi.
So yeah.
That's racist.
Japanese.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
No, it's not.
No. Tiny, you're canceled.
It's a celebration of Japanese culture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and I also wanted to mention, Ben, that you have concluded your Disney straight to video sequel project for Midwest Film Journal.
That's correct.
Yes.
It's all over but the crying. And it's all gonna be me crying.
Nice.
It's been a wild ride, and Space Buddies was the final one. So check that out, Midwest Film Journal, where you can read them all.
Yeah. Do you have any other like projects coming up over there, or are you like settling down?
I'm waiting for my brain cells to regenerate.
Okay.
And then we'll see.
Yeah.
Nothing planned as of yet, but
okay.
You never know. Inspiration may strike again.
Yeah. I would pitch that you do like an entire series of essays on every movie that's referenced in like Space Jam 2.
Which, have you seen that yet?
I haven't, but I know that it's
man.
ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Tiny, when are you going to do a review series of direct to DVD sequels of something?
A few months from never.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Space Jam 2. Is that the new one with LeBron James? Okay.
It sure is.
I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's on HBO Max.
All I know is Lola Bunny's not sexy anymore, so
yeah,
I have no reason to watch it.
Right.
Yep.
I kid.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what we've got going on here. How, like, what's new with you guys and your lives and everything? How's it going?
Pretty good. It was a little chilly this morning.
Yeah.
My crapped out overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's very chilly this morning, but it's working now.
Nice.
So it was a stressful day because of that. But
And Ben, you had to wake up early to break his furnace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. I to pay off a thing from a couple of episodes ago. No one died in my building that I'm aware of. We have had questions about that, but I am moving because this complex sucks. But I won't get into all that. But I am moving as of March 24th. I'm going to be moving to the north side of Indianapolis, which is exciting and scary and exciting. So that should be interesting. I'm still figuring out how we're going to finagle the podcasting and everything, but
yeah,
it'll all work out. It always does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Be honest, did your choice of apartment have to deal with the acoustics?
To be honest, no. I haven't seen the unit itself yet because it's still being rented out. But yeah, no. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. It'll be good. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. One of my excited things that I'm going to do, is I'm going to compile all of my stats. I'm going to, when I move out, I'm going to have not a full list because that's obscene, but I'm going to have a number of all the movies, the amount of movies I've watched in this apartment since I moved in 7 years ago.
Of course you are.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I've kind of taken a peek at it, and I have a number in my head that is around where it is now, and I've got a month and a half to crank some out. Which, by the way, I don't want to jinx anything, but judging from the movie watching that I've done in January and February, if I keep this momentum going, this will be a record-breaking year for me and possibly for the podcast.
Dang.
Yeah, I am up to, this is February 8th, I'm up to, I think, 51 movies watched.
Jeez.
Yeah, so.
I think I'm at 6.
Nice. Ben, you're notorious for watching a lot of movies as well. Where are you at? Do you know?
No, I don't know, but vamp for me, and I might find out.
Yeah, I to be honest, I did kind of peek at your stuff, and that's why I felt comfortable asking you. Unless you've watched like a ton of stuff.
Letterboxd says 34.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay,
it's pretty good.
You know, I've kind of made a concentrated effort to watch a little bit less this year, just because. Like at the end of last year, I just started to get really just burnt out.
Yeah.
Plus, I've been watching a little bit more TV this year so far, as opposed to last year. So that's part of it. Nice.
Oh, and I should ask this also. Ben, we went through the first Indiana Film Journalists Association meeting that you were a part of for the first time you were a part of it. Just kind of a brief rundown. Like, how did you feel about it? How did you feel about, cramming for all the awards and everything? And how did you feel about the first year in the IFJA?
I think it went pretty well. It all went very smoothly. I didn't really know what to expect since, I had never participated in anything like it before. So, but it was really fun. It was a good conversation. Although at the end of the day, all of my picks didn't win, so I'm very angry about that, and I'm quitting the IFJA. But it was really great. I'm pretty happy with all the winners, and lots of diversity amongst them. So, yeah,
nice. Well, I'm looking forward to many more years with the IFJ and everything. Tiny, did you see the winners or anything?
I think I did. I can't remember.
It's been a couple months.
Yeah,
so
it's fine. It's been a little while.
Yeah. Speaking of winners, that's a terrible segue. Today, the nominees for the 2022 Academy Awards were announced. And before we get into our Ebert's Great Movies List review for these three movies, in this installment, I do want to just kind of briefly touch on the Academy Award nominations and kind of get a read on how we all felt about it and everything. I didn't watch like the presentation or anything, but I did kind of check in as they were being announced, and I've just been on such a steady decline over the years. Like, I don't care enough to like do any kind of Oscar prognostications or anything prognosticating. And I that's kind of a level of moviedom that I don't really, I'm getting farther and farther away from. Having said that, I will proudly say that I have watched all 10 of the nominees for Best Picture, and I'm very curious what will happen if Don't Look Up wins, because I hope it doesn't, because it's such a dumb movie. But yeah, I don't know. What did you guys think of the nominations?
Pretty good, yeah. I'm still a fan of the 10 nominees for Best Picture. I think that was a smart move on their part. But yeah, I've got a lot of work to do because I've only seen 4 of the 10 nominees.
Oh, okay. Which 4?
I have seen Nightmare Alley, Don't Look Up, Dune, and The Power of the Dog.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that you saw Don't Look Up.
I did. Yeah. I watched it, last month.
Okay.
I didn't hate it as much as most people.
Yeah.
I laughed at quite a bit of it, actually. But conceptually, it was just so off the mark.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
No.
Yeah. No. I thought it was terrible. Ben, you sent a text that was like, did you say best editing nomination for Don't Look Up with a puke emoji, I think?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. I would really like, if there's any movie or film editors out there that would be willing to have a conversation with me about it, just please reach out to me, because I legit do not understand that nomination.
Me
it's
either.
insane and stupid.
Yeah. They worked really hard to edit that entire Ariana Grande performance in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
movie.
I don't know. It's dumb, but overall, I think I'm pretty happy with all the nominees. The 2 or 3 that I think I was the happiest about was Penelope Cruz for Best Actress for Parallel Mothers.
I still haven't seen that.
I really loved it.
Okay.
And granted, it may be because I haven't seen a ton of Almodovar movies, but I really loved it. I think she was really great. She might, maybe my second favorite performance of 2021.
Oh, wow. Overall performance?
I think so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'll have to I'll have to look a little bit closer, but
what's number 1? Did you say it was top 2?
Probably Alana Haim.
Oh, yeah. She was great.
And I kind of got my hopes up that she would get nominated as well, but that was kind of a long shot.
Yeah.
But the other nomination that I'm really happy about was Tragedy of Macbeth for production design.
Oh, nice.
That was, I kind of didn't think that would happen, but I love the production design in that.
Yeah, it looked freaking gorgeous. Yeah. A couple of big snubs that I found in the nominees is that Come On got nothing.
Right.
Which bothers me because I feel like what was the kid's name?
Woody Norman.
Like, I don't know. I feel like they nominated 2 supporting actors for Power of the Dog. Like, throw one to the kid.
Yeah.
In that movie, but that got snubbed, and then Mass got nothing, which was a bummer because that was my top movie of last year. I don't know that's why I don't like doing the, Oscar prognosticating or anything, because I don't know what is being submitted. Like that song from Encanto that's getting a lot of play on TikTok and stuff didn't get a nomination because Disney didn't submit it for a nomination.
Right.
So I don't know what the wheels were turning for, like Mass or Come On.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I don't know. There are 13 movies with nominations that I have not seen, so I'm going to try to watch as many of those as I can. Yeah, I saw online that the Twitterverse went berserk because Lady Gaga did not get nominated.
Wow.
Yeah, which I don't know. I've talked about this a lot, but and this could segue into like a brief news thing real quick, but I feel like there is a segment of Twitter and social media that it's my problem with fandom, that you make your fandom of something into a personality, like a one specific thing. So like, I just imagine like, the Lady Gaga stans going nuts and like writing or whatever in social media form. And I'm just like, okay, it's just because your world revolves around one person or one figure does not mean the entire world has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole movie was over the top, including her.
That's what I've heard.
So.
I've only gotten like 15 minutes into it. I tried watching it and then I turned it off.
It's not laughably bad, but it's just, it's over the top.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that she would get nominated for sure. So it is pretty surprising, but not terribly surprising when you think about it. But I don't know. I don't want to dive too deep into it. I will hold my fingers that we'll still do a nominee rundown at some point episode.
I doubt it, honestly. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just so burnt out on the idea of awards.
Me too.
Really.
I've lost so much enthusiasm for awards. Yeah. It's really a bummer.
Yeah. So sorry.
Maybe I'll just record my solo episode.
Sure.
But I don't think you guys have to worry about Don't Look Up winning Best Picture, because I'm pretty positive it's going to be Power of the Dog.
Oh, really? Yeah. I would say it's either Power of the Dog or Belfast.
I would have said that too, but they're not to get too in the weeds with it, but Belfast didn't have the nominations that I thought it would.
Oh, yeah.
I think if Power of the Dog doesn't win it, believe it or not, I think it might be Dune.
Oh, wow. Wow. Huh. How many Best Picture winners have there been without a Best Director nominee? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not too many.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
I know the last one I think was Argo.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I was really stoked for Andrew Garfield as well.
Oh yeah.
Getting a nomination.
Yeah, that was great.
I saw that movie and I liked it a lot, and I've just been a huge fan of his for a long time, and I always thought he would be an Oscar nominee someday.
Yeah.
So here we are. I'm excited. So I don't know.
He was good in that.
Yeah.
I wish that movie would have gotten maybe 1 or 2 nominations, but I think that was probably as good as it was going to get.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think the best part of the movie got nominated.
Yeah, I agree too. I wasn't over the moon about that movie. Really, the music. I don't remember any of the music from that movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember a couple of songs. That's it.
No offense. I mean, I wasn't really into the music.
Speaking of music and Tick Tick Boom, Lin-Manuel Miranda is an Oscar away from an EGOT.
Oh,
right? Does he have an Emmy?
I can't imagine he has an Emmy. Has he done a lot of television?
That's a good question, because I thought that it...
I know he's one away from the EGOT. I don't know.
Oh.
He's actually...
Oh, yeah, then it's definitely...
He doesn't have an Oscar.
Right.
So, I guess he does have an Emmy. That's surprising.
No, he does have an Emmy, because Hamilton won the...
That's right.
The recorded thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. Because he's nominated for Encanto.
Okay.
Right, yes, he has a song nomination, yes.
I'd say he's damn near shoe-in for an EGOT then.
Yeah.
Someday.
He would actually be one of the, I think I saw this, one of 3 people to get a PGOT, which is an EGOT plus a Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, dang.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
That's awesome. Wow. The thing that I was going to transition into about that is really briefly. Are we done with Oscar talk? Anything else?
I'm good.
Anything?
Technically, no, but go ahead.
Sure. So it was announced the other day, speaking of Twitter stans and fandom and everything, it was announced that there is a biopic being made about Michael Jackson. And I think it's going to be called Michael. And yeah, there was a lot of stuff online about it. There's like also a Broadway show about Michael Jackson. And like the thing that I'm going to get on my soapbox about just a little bit is that if you tweet anything about Michael Jackson and the allegations against Michael Jackson, or about Leaving Neverland, anything, your Twitter will be assaulted by Michael Jackson stans. Mm-hmm. It's weird. Like, Rainn Wilson tweeted about the Michael Jackson Broadway musical, and all he said was like, "Can someone please honestly explain to me like why Michael Jackson has a musical on Broadway? Like I'm genuinely curious." And then like every like if you go to like the quote tweets and the replies, it's like, "Oh, you're a has-been. You were on one show and you're not even the funniest part of it." And then like, "Oh, this is coming from the same person that tweeted this 12 years ago, this offensive joke or something." It's like it's weird. It's so weird.
Wow.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. Wow. No, I don't know. It's so weird when fans of something become so, they literally idealize that thing, or they get completely up their ass about it.
Right.
It's weird.
Rose-colored glasses.
Yeah. Trump 2024. Same thing. I still see trucks with stupid Trump flags.
Oh yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, anyway, so how do you guys feel about the Michael Jackson biopic? Are you guys going to see it? Are you the type of people who would boycott it because of the allegations, or see it or boycott it because it's a freaking music biopic?
Probably that last one. Yeah. I don't remember the last one of those that I saw that I liked.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. When I saw Rocket Man, I was like, what's the point of this? Literally this entire genre. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big boycotter in general.
Okay.
So, but the detail from Leaving Neverland that was explored in that documentary, I can't separate that man's actions from his art anymore. I can't, it's hard. I mean, I'm not going to dislike Michael Jackson music, but I can't celebrate the guy anymore. I just can't do it. So, but I'll probably see the movie. I mean,
I still need to watch that documentary.
It is hard.
Yeah,
it's rough.
But I will say this: you tweet one thing about it, you'll get a link to a very weirdly obscure, independently produced documentary that apparently spells out everything about how he's innocent.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that documentary is so haunting that it's hard. It's difficult to celebrate even that man's immense talent. He was immensely talented without question, but it's just difficult anymore. But I'm just not a boycotter. I'm not going to be up in arms that somebody's making a movie about him.
Yeah.
I'm just not that kind of person. Really.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think it shouldn't be made or anything.
Right.
Like, if you want to make a movie, make a freaking movie. Yeah. I'm probably not going to bother seeing it because it's not something I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and music biopics suck.
I don't mind them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of dug Rocket Man.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna defend it.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess they work for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did I see? Was it that or something else that's gonna be written by the person that did Bohemian Rhapsody?
It might be that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of editing, Bohemian Rhapsody, that one scene that was circulating around, and it won Best Editing.
It sure did.
Jesus. Yeah. 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 Do we have anything else to say about the Oscars or pedophilia allegations?
You had said you have 13 to watch still?
Yes, 13.
Okay. I have 7.
Oh, nice.
And I think last year was the first year where I was able to watch all of them.
Nice.
Shorts and features.
Oh, nice. Oh,
and,
I did not include shorts.
Yeah.
By the way.
I haven't seen any of those either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I should be able to watch all of them again this year. Yeah.
Nice. I have 73. It's too many to count.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because, like, the 13 that I have, it's not, like, I'm not really in that much of a hurry to see them. Like, I've seen all the Best Picture nominees, so I'm good there. But, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna see Encanto, Flea, and Free Guy.
I'm curious, you have a screener for Lost Person in the World.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of really good things about it, so I'll definitely have to watch that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one in Cantu. Yeah. So we'll report back on that, I'm sure. Do you guys want to get into our Ebert's Great Movies list?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. And before we do that, Ben, just plug your site one more time.
TheMovieState.com.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and go into our Ebert's Great Movies list review, which basically Ebert had over 300 movies that he wrote essays for under the banner of Great Movies. I'm going to hopefully dig up and play the music here, the little thing that we do here. So here we go.
No name is more synonymous with film criticism than Roger Ebert's.
Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and children.
People say, do film critics have too much power?
For those who can hear me, I say, do not despair.
We can help a movie. We can help a movie by sharing our enthusiasm. We can't necessarily hurt a movie that is destined to be a big hit anyway.
You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure.
And then Roger Ebert gets up.
What I find very offensive and condescending about your statement is nobody would say to a bunch of white filmmakers, how could you do this to your people?
Democracy! Let us all unite!
All right, in Ebert's Great Movies, there's a quote that's attributed to Roger Ebert that I'm going to go ahead and read. One of the gifts a movie lover can give another is the title of a wonderful film they have not yet discovered. Here are more than 300 reconsiderations and appreciations of movies from the distant past to the recent past, all of movies that I consider worthy of being called great. And the concept for these episodes are that we each select a single movie from Roger Ebert's Great Movies list, and then we review and discuss them in a special series of podcast episodes. We have previously done movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Cleo from 5 to 7.
Duck Soup,
which is going to be at the Artcraft at some point this year. Yeah. I should say that. The Artcraft Theater, they had their sponsorship party, which the Artcraft Theater is a movie theater in Franklin, Indiana. It's really, it's amazing. It's like the Majestic, which is going to be playing at the Artcraft. But basically what they do is they have like seasons where they run, like each week they play a movie, and it's only on the weekends and everything. And they have a sponsorship fundraiser party each year where they say what they're going to show that season, and then local like businesses and merchants and people bid to sponsor those screenings so that they can facilitate that. So what they did was they haven't released the schedule or anything because the sponsorship needs to be done and everything, but they released a video that showed all of the like clips of all the movies that they're going to be showing. And off the top of my head, the one that really stood out to me was Scream, which I'm super excited about because I have never seen the first Scream movie in a movie theater. So I'm definitely going to make a trip out for that. And then they're going to show 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I'm very... Like, this is really weird and random, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I was browsing my Letterboxd, and I figured out that 2001: A Space Odyssey, I've seen countless times. But since 2013, I have seen it 5 times, I think. Each one of those 5 times has been in a movie theater. Like, I've not watched it like on home video or anything. I've only watched it in a movie theater since 2013. So I'm going to hopefully keep this streak alive with when it's at the Artcraft. But they're also going to be showing Duck Soup, the original 3:10 to Yuma, the original Cape Fear. I can't remember. The Craft. The Sandlot, and then their usual Christmas movies, White Christmas and Christmas Vacation and Elf. But look at the Artcraft website and follow them on Facebook and everything, because I'm sure they'll announce their schedule and everything. But I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we've previously done Duck Soup and Paths of Glory and a bunch of movies. Check the website. Tonight, we are going to be talking about 3 movies that we selected eons ago. Bond. We're going to be talking about Psycho, Goldfinger, and Alien. And as we usually do, we're going to go in chronological order from release date. So the first one is Psycho. Do you guys have anything to say about Roger Ebert's great movies or the project before we get into Psycho?
They're great.
Nice.
They're great.
They're movies. Nice. So let's go ahead and talk about Psycho. This was my pick for, right? Yeah. It was my pick when we last did this episode or this series, and I'm going to go ahead and play a clip from the trailer before we get into our discussion of Psycho.
Here we have a quiet little motel, when in fact it has now become known as the scene of the crime.
You have a vacancy?
Oh, we have 12 vacancies.
You know, this is the first place that looks like it's hiding from the world.
I think that we're all in our private traps, clamped in them. And none of us can ever get out.
So, Psycho is directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It was released in 1960, and per the Letterboxd plot summary, when larcenous real estate clerk Marion Crane goes on the lam with a wad of cash in hopes of starting a new life, she ends up at the notorious Bates Motel, where manager Norman Bates cares for his housebound mother. The place seems fairly quirky, but fine until Marion decides to take a shower. So I picked this movie because when we last did this, it was like September, and we wanted to do one in October, but then everything, the world, I just didn't have time. But yeah, we're back with Psycho. So Psycho, is a movie that I cherish a lot. Like, I have seen it a lot. I love it a lot. And it's amazing. So what did you guys think of Psycho? And what's your guys' history with Psycho?
Yeah. Have you seen it before, Ben?
Yes.
Okay. You had seen it before.
Yeah. I thought that I had seen it all before, but I believe the first time that I saw it in full was just a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I know that I had seen bits and pieces of it. And obviously, it's so ubiquitous that I had seen rip-offs and imitations of it, and clips from it everywhere, pretty much. But yeah, I love it as well. I think until we did the Ebert's great movies episode about Vertigo, I considered this one to be my favorite Hitchcock movie, but now I think it's still Vertigo. But
nice.
Yeah, this one is just iconic, just across the board.
Nice. Yeah. Tiny, what's your history with Psycho?
It's funny, for years my dad is a goofball. And
I'm so glad you didn't say Psycho.
No, well, in his own way. He's a big goofball, and as a kid, my dad, anytime he took a knife out of the knife block in the kitchen and we were in there, he would hold it in a stabbing motion and go re like that. And as a kid, for years and years, I never got the reference until he finally told us. He's like, "Yeah, it's from this Hitchcock movie," and I was like, "Who's Alfred Hitchcock?" And Alfred Hitchcock, and he told us about this movie, and I think we watched it when I was probably 12.
Wow.
Which was a little early, probably. Not because of the themes, I don't think, but just because it's a sophisticated movie, I think.
Yeah.
And so I remember seeing it that young and thinking it was really cool, and I wanted to see it again. And some of the things that stuck with me weren't the shower scene, and it wasn't some of the iconic stuff. It was really Anthony Perkins' performance. I mean, it stuck with me. And just his mannerisms and the journey that he goes on in the movie really stuck with me, even as a 12-year-old. But I've seen it a handful of times since then, and I fully adore it for the masterpiece that it is in so many ways. It has so many nuanced, masterful things about it. It's not just one thing. I think not everybody, but it's very easy to focus on the shower scene and stuff like that. Rightfully so. But there's so much more to the movie to me. I think there's so many things to discuss about it that make it a one of a kind movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or at least the first of its kind.
Right. It is kind of a proto slasher kind of movie, I guess. When Mike and I recorded a commentary track for Scream 96, he had mentioned, he referred to the kind of the idea of the generational slashers of Psycho being the grandfather, Halloween being the father, and Scream being the child. And I can absolutely see that influence and everything. And it's just something that I'm more aware of the influence of Psycho on the world, on Hollywood and on horror filmmaking over the decades. And when I rewatched it this time, it's funny, I do have an anecdote because I rewatched it, and Tiny, I know that you are fond of waking up early and having what you have dubbed tiny time.
Yep.
Yeah, and I had my own tiny time against my will. Monday, I woke up and I was like, oh, okay. I asked my my voice-activated servant what time it was, and she said it is 3:45 a.m. and I'm thinking oh, I have an hour and a half or 2 hours to sleep. Awesome. And then I could not go back to sleep, so I just came out here, parked on the couch, watched Psycho, made coffee. Do not recommend doing that again for me because I was dragging ass the entire day.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I don't get up at 3:45.
Yeah. And I'm sure that you probably go to sleep early enough to wake up early enough.
Yeah.
I went to bed at 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was rough. But I will say that this was one of my more rewarding experiences rewatching Psycho because I've watched it several times. I've logged it on Letterboxd 9 times since, and that dates back to 2007. So I've seen it several times and several times before then. But watching it this time, I was just really keyed into a lot of different little things. And previous to that, I had watched the documentary 5870 or 7852. I believe that's what it's called. Yes, it's called 7852. It's a documentary all about the shower scene. It's okay.
What are those numbers a reference to?
It is a reference to the film having 78 shots and 52 cuts in that scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yes, yeah. Or I might have that reverse. Hang on. It's 78 shots and 52 cuts that changed cinema forever.
Huh.
Yeah, the most famous murder scene in movie history comprises 78 camera settings and 52 cuts. The shower scene in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. 7852 tells the story of the man behind the curtain and his greatest obsession. This documentary is available to stream on Hulu. And it was fine. It was kind of a cool like love fest for it. But something I found interesting about it also, and I'll get back into the movie, is that it really made me think about the legacy of Psycho. I have not seen any of the sequels, but just thinking about how Psycho not only influenced the genre and everything, but it had sequels. It had a shot-for-shot remake, which I haven't seen, but I've heard terrible things about. But it's an interesting experiment. It also had Bates Motel, and it's something that just it lives on, I think, uniquely. But rewatching it this time, I was really fascinated by the kind of energy of, I don't want to say, because this is overused and everything, but the male gaze in it. Marion Crane is in a relationship, and she's like, she steals the money to kind of run away with Sam, her boyfriend. And like throughout she's in the movie for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And throughout those 45 minutes, she is leered at, or she's kind of how did I phrase it on Letterboxd? She's kind of like constantly under the microscope from men. Okay. So this is from my Letterboxd review. I love how her entire arc plays out and how there's such a focused presence of men intimidating or questioning her in some capacity. Yet it's Norman, the soft-spoken mama's boy, who's the threat to her. And like, it's interesting because like you have the kind of oil guy who is talking to her in the office and kind of flirting with her and everything. And then you have her boss seeing her on the street. You see that you have the cop, you have the used car salesman that's kind of like giving her a side eye, like, well, like what trouble are you going to bring me and everything. And then you get to Bates Motel, and then you have Norman, who is actually speaking to her as a human being and having mm-hmm. a conversation and dinner and everything. And then he's the one that, brings about her doom. And so I just found that pretty interesting. And on that similar note, just the idea of the rain, because like she's driving and then the rain starts. And then when the rain kind of drives her to Bates Motel, it's such an interesting just arc for her, because it's mm-hmm. like the rain, it's like the universe is pushing her into this trap where she's going to be murdered because as soon as she checks in, the rain's gone. And then through her conversation with who would be, the instrument of her death, she comes around to it. She's like, I need to go back. I need to, face the consequences and everything. And then it's too late. It's such an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah. What did you guys think of the first 45 minutes of Psycho?
I had never thought of the whole male gaze thing, the whole perspective. That's really clever.
Just like a man.
Right? I know, right? Yeah, totally. In my defense, it's been a long time since I've seen this. But another very cool aspect of the movie is it's kind of a genre swap, because the first 30 plus minutes, 40 minutes, up until the shower scene, feels like a thriller mm-hmm. type thing, and mm-hmm. like, oh, it's about this woman who stole this money, and then at the drop of a hat, it completely changes gears into a straight up horror movie.
Yeah, when
she gets killed, it's really amazing. And I don't know if it's accurate to say a movie had never done that before, but it's so uncommon, but it's so seamless in this movie. It's really fascinating to see how quickly that change can be so seamless. It's just it's really fascinating. It's one of the cooler parts of the movie. There was something else I was going to say too. I forgot what I was going to say, but
that is what blew me away. I remember the first time that I watched it, and I remember hearing something about this was like Hitchcock wanted to challenge himself when he made this. And so he used, I think, his TV crew from his TV show to make it. And so they had a much smaller budget than his previous movies. And so it's just crazy how you can challenge yourself and make, one of the greatest movies ever made. It's such a groundbreaking movie in those ways. And I think, not to speculate too much, but I feel like if he would have had a bigger budget or a more extensive, bombastic kind of crew, then it would have just been a totally different movie.
It would have lost some subtlety, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
One of the other things I was going to mention is it's at least the first 47 minutes are undeniably like it's like a sexy movie, because Janet Leigh is just I mean, it's her attractiveness is played up in the movie, and it's interesting to look at it through the lens of when it came out, because to us, our generation, nothing about it is shocking,
right?
I mean, but like in 1960, the opening scene, a woman on a bed in her bra, like that had to be like, whoa, what kind of movie is this? You know, and it's the generational divide is pretty noticeable, and it's something that I wonder if, like again, the three of us, the generation that we come from, if we can even appreciate that about how this movie probably could have been like boycotted, extensively because of that. But I think the fact that it's just so damn good, that kind of slipped under, I mean, she's practically, you can like almost see some nudity in the shower scene if you got a really quick pause finger and you really want to see that. I mean, if that's something you're really interested in, I'm sure there were plenty of teenage boys throughout, with their VHS copies and DVD copies trying to pause it at the exact right time. But that's, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to grade it on a scale or judge it on a scale, because it's hard for us to have that. We don't have that 1960 mindset, right?
Yeah.
But I still think it's something that I feel like there's a tone. There's a tone in the first 45 minutes, like this is a sexy thriller.
Yeah.
And then again, the way it switches is really remarkable. But you totally, again, we're 3 generations removed from this movie, but we still pick up on that sexy tone, that sexy thriller tone in the first 45 minutes of it.
Plus, isn't her boyfriend, isn't he married or engaged or something?
I forgot. He's divorced.
Oh, okay.
He's been previously married.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have to, it's kind of implied that they have to sneak around because they can't, date, they can't be amorous in public or anything because they're not married.
Right.
Which I think is more just a sign of the time and everything. But what's interesting is that one of the first things that's pointed out in that documentary is that the opening scene is them in bed post-coitus.
Yeah.
And Alfred Hitchcock's previous movie was North by Northwest, which literally ends on a metaphor of sex, like the train going into the tunnel. And it's just really interesting that the very next thing that he does is opening with post-coital sex scene. And also, not to get all Mike on here, but the influence of Psycho on the slasher genre is also relevant also because yes, this is a woman who has is having sexual intercourse with her boyfriend and everything. She is an eye of affection and attraction to different people. And Norman is he's someone who has these just really messed up kind of sheltered ideas and everything. Because like at the end of the movie, light spoilers, they talk about how like, oh, you have any missing persons cases, and it's always like, they're like anytime he would see like young lovers or something, he would go after them because he felt either shame or he felt like they were to be punished for that. And that is like the prototype for the slasher genre and the kind of the sex appeal of the characters in slasher movies, all the way up to Scream revitalizing it with the whole, you don't have sex, you can never have sex. That's how you survive a horror movie. So it's just really interesting to see how that kind of ebbs and flows throughout the decades.
Yeah.
But after the shower scene, also got to point out, first time, I believe it's the first time a toilet is flushed in a movie.
I feel like I heard that once. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But after that, the movie transitions into a detective story.
Right.
And I really like that. I really like the three characters kind of coming together, trying to find Marion. And I'm an unabashed fan of Martin Balsam. I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And him as Arbogast is just a delight. And Anthony Perkins is amazing, especially in the scene with Marion. And then each interaction that he has an interaction with Marion. It's kind of unsettling, but it's safe until it's not safe. And then when he has the conversation with Arbogast, it's a little bit more, he's a little more muddled, and he's a little more like, he's not as charming. And then when he has a conversation with Sam at the end of the movie, it's like, it's more of an interrogation, and it's more, he's backed against the wall and everything. And it's really cool to see Anthony Perkins just adjust that performance throughout the movie.
Totally.
What did you guys think of the rest of the movie? And then we can go on to Goldfinger.
Yeah, it's kind of insane how like very few movies could pull it off where they introduce completely new characters that late into a movie and still keep you interested. And it just totally works here. You have the family connection, so that helps, that helps you gain their sympathy. But it's just another revolutionary thing with this, to just totally introduce new people.
I wonder if this movie is like one of the first times that the concept of like multiple personality disorder is like, or whatever, dissociative identity disorder, whatever it's called now, or whatever the equivalent to that is now. I don't know, but
I don't know either.
It's got to be the first time it was popularized, like mainstream.
I think so, also
told. But it's become unfortunately overused, and it's a little it's very tired now.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting that in 1960. That amount of psychology was so well laid out at the end of the movie, and it's interesting because all of the characters at the end are like, "Wow, really? That's what's going on." This guy he assumed his mother's identity on a subconscious level, and they compete to occupy his. That's crazy, and like. Nowadays, we'd all be like, "Oh, yeah, dissociative identity disorder, or like multiple personality disorder. Yeah, sure, okay." Like it wouldn't be a surprising thing for us. It's interesting to see it laid out so bluntly in the movie, and also psychology was not even the concept of psychology was not a widely accepted thing. But we have this very astute psychologist at the end of the movie. Laying out all these things for us.
Yeah.
It's really and it's also not It's well done. It's not like a shitty exposition dump. It's it's an exposition. I don't know if we're talking about like the ending right now, but like the I think my favorite part of the movie that like scared the shit out of me as a kid was the actual climax where what's her name? Vera Miles? Is that her name? Did I make that up?
You're right, Vera Miles.
Vera Miles, the sister, when she is in the fruit cellar and finds the remains and begins to scream.
Right.
The scariest part, it's not the skeleton. That's not really scary. The scariest part to me is the look of, I don't know, on Anthony Perkins' face when he comes in the cellar in the wig and that light is swinging. The lighting is so goddamn cool. It's the look. I don't know if he's excited, if he's thrilled, if he's surprised. It's like all those things together. That look of like he's excited that he gets to kill her or that the mother gets to kill her. Like that look on his face. That is one of the best acting moments maybe ever. Yeah. Like I and it's funny because it's not like, it was probably a few word sentence in the script, and Anthony Perkins just ran with it and was like, "This is what I'm going to do."
And it's so, he says, "I'm Norma Bates."
Oh, yeah. I didn't actually know. I didn't know he actually says anything there, but okay, I completely missed that. You know, mixed in with her scream, and then Sam charging in at the end there to stop her. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I that look on Anthony Perkins' face, like as a 12-year-old, I was like disturbed by that. Yeah, but like in a great way. I was like, I want to see this movie again, and you know, that's like my favorite part of the movie.
Nice. So. I think the last shot is just iconic. Him, I wouldn't hurt a fly. Like totally. Yeah. Just stunning. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Ben, final thoughts on Psycho?
Two quick things. One, I know that this has probably been said to death, but it's just so revolutionary for this movie to have a killer that is so normal on the surface. You know, I feel like horror movies before this, the killer or the bad guy was always some kind of supernatural, you know, possessed by the devil or, you know, someone who is, you know, someone that you should be scared of when you first see them. But Anthony Perkins just crushes it. Yeah. The other thing, Matt, I believe we talked about this the last time we talked Hitchcock, but Tiny, we've still got a ton of Hitchcock movies to cover on this list, but would you say this is your favorite Hitchcock?
Oh, yeah.
Have you thought about it?
For me, I think it's North by Northwest.
Oh, nice.
Or Rear Window.
Okay.
I also love a little bit of a deeper pull. We watched it. Matt's seen it. We watched this movie in sophomore year in high school called Rope.
Yeah.
The filmmaking in that is incredible. Jimmy Stewart's in it. The whole movie is two. There's like one cut in the whole movie.
I think so. Yeah.
It's 2 long takes.
Wow.
It's really cool movie.
Yeah.
Those are some of the big ones I've seen. But yeah, I think it's kind of a toss up between North by Northwest and Rear Window.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is without a doubt my favorite Hitchcock movie.
Nice.
It is number 8 on my top 25 movies of all time list.
Cool.
Psycho is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Ben, how about you? Has your change? You already said.
I still think it's Vertigo.
Okay,
nice. And I don't see that changing.
Nice.
I haven't seen that in a while. I need to see that one.
It's good. Yeah. I don't have offhand how many Hitchcock movies are on the list, but I'm always down for Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Hitchcock and Kurosawa off the list.
I know North by Northwest is one of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's go around. Thumbs up. What was your Letterboxd rating? Do you give it a thumbs up? And would you put this on a great movies list that you would curate? And I'll get us started since it was my pick. Thumbs up, 5 stars, absolutely on great movies list because it is one of those just amazing, perfect movies, as near perfect as you can get. Ben, how about you?
Same. All of the above.
Nice. Tiny.
Yeah. Thumbs up, 5 stars, and great movie for sure.
Sweet.
It's Psycho.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what else do you need to say? Even people who aren't movie fans know what this movie is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's epic.
Okay, so next up in our Ebert's Great Movies list, part 11, we're going to be talking about Ben's pick, which was 1964's Goldfinger, and I'm going to go ahead and play a clip from the trailer right here.
He's the idol of every woman.
Who are you?
James Bond.
The envy of every man. The nemesis of the treacherous Mr. Goldfinger. Goldfinger, a triumph in thrill-making cinema entertainment.
The man with the mind.
A three-time winner for Fleming's Secret Agent 007.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
Isn't it customary to grant the condemned man his last request?
So, Goldfinger came out in 1964. Ben, do you want to read the plot summary and let us know why you picked it? And while you're pulling that up, yeah, it stars Sean Connery and people. And I do want to say the song. I love that, like, by the end of, like, it's a good opening song and everything, but just it always tickles me that, like, the end of, like, the last lyrics of the song is "He loves gold." It's like, oh shit, we need to finish the song. He loves gold, I guess. So Ben, Goldfinger.
Yeah, so Goldfinger, 1964, directed by Guy Hamilton. Special Agent 007 comes face to face with one of the most notorious villains of all time, and now he must outwit and outgun the powerful tycoon to prevent him from cashing in on a devious scheme to raid Fort Knox and obliterate the world's economy. So I picked this mostly because at the time, when we recorded the last part, it was in anticipation of the newest James Bond movie, which is now the newest Academy Award nominated James Bond movie.
How many nominations did he get?
At least 2,
okay,
maybe 3. We'll come back to that, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was purely just in anticipation of that. Because I know we were all excited for it. So, and also this is one of my favorite James Bond movies.
Nice.
Yeah,
me too.
Nice. It's up there for me. I watched it today, so it's fairly fresh in my mind. This one, I think because the last time I watched it was back in like 2013, and it was like I was watching all the James Bond movies. I only got halfway through them, but I really liked this one. But like watching it this time, it felt a little bit lower key than I remembered it being. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's the gadgets are fun. The car is amazing. It's got those staples of James Bond that I really like, but I kind of feel like the kind of thrust of the main plot in the third act is a little bit like, it feels like there's a lot of like stop and go with like, oh, he's just talking to Goldfinger. Like they're basically just saying like, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. And then he's like, all right, well, I'll get you, but we'll see. It just seems a little bit dry.
Yeah.
But yeah. How did you guys feel about Goldfinger?
Full disclosure, I did not watch this for this episode.
You're fired.
But I've seen
Just
this.
kidding.
We had this on VHS when I was younger, when I was a kid, and we used to watch this movie all the damn time. I've probably seen this movie 8 or 10 times.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like I think some of my favorite Bond movies are the ones that are grounded. They're not. There's not some wackadoo shit going on where they're like trying to, I don't know, steal space. You know, like it's not a guy with fucking metal teeth who's 7 feet tall. It's not crazy. Even though there is a dude who throws a hat who kills people by throwing his hat. It's funny because like the term grounded in the Bond universe still comes with a lot of caveats.
It's very relative.
There's a woman named Pussy Galore. And, you know, but it's the plot. You know, they're trying to steal some gold. It's nothing crazy, and that's I think that's some of the best Bond stuff, and it has my favorite Bond villain line of all time. Where Sean Connery as Bond has a laser slowly creeping up towards his crotch, and he says, "Do you expect me to talk, Goldfinger?" And he's like, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die."
Yes.
One of the best lines ever.
Yeah.
I love that line. And even as a kid, I was like, that's good. I like that.
Yep.
So I have this movie like holds a place in my heart. I really enjoy this. I've been a Bond fan since I was a kid, and this was one of my favorites, and probably maybe besides GoldenEye is the one I've seen the most. Wow. Yeah. GoldenEye's my favorite. So
nice.
Yeah.
I didn't get that far in my Bond watching in 2013, but I did like Goldfinger, but I mean, hey, it's weird because like Bond is such an interesting franchise, but the ones I gravitate toward, like I really love Moonraker.
I've never even seen that one.
It's over the top, but it's a blast.
Nice.
And it's something about that just like 70s sci-fi aesthetic, like 70s depiction of technology that's far advanced from the 70s is interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Ben, how do you feel about Goldfinger?
I think what stands out to me for this one is how it really just lays the groundwork for the rest of the franchise. Like, this was the third James Bond movie, and
it was that early.
Wow. So the first one was Dr. No, and obviously they're still kind of, trying to figure things out. The second one is From Russia with Love, which is also really great, but is very much like anti-James Bond in a lot of ways. But this one just really just sets the stage for the rest of the franchise. It feels like you have the ridiculous villain, you have the gadgets, you have the women, you have the exotic locations, all this stuff, and it just, the rest of the franchise would just dig into that for better and worse throughout the years. But I think it just works really well. And it also helps that it has one of the best, if not the best, villains of the franchise in this. Yeah.
When watching Bond, like when you watch it in chronological order of release date and everything, like when I watched it back in 2013, like I was like, Sean Connery's my Bond. There's no way anyone can ever replace Sean Connery. He's amazing. And then I eventually got to like Roger Moore, and I'm like, Roger Moore.
Roger Moore was so fun.
Oh my God. A blast.
So fun.
But yeah, and now like remembering that Goldfinger is so early in the franchise, like Ben, I for as much as I feel like Goldfinger is a little bit dry and everything, Dr. No is much more like okay, just do something. Someone throw a pie.
Right.
But yeah, so it is kind of a growing thing, and like watching this, I mean, you can't deny Sean Connery is just so charming and fun, and like it made me want to go back and watch them again, watch all of them, and yeah. So, but I've got a Kurosawa thing going. So,
have either of you seen all of them?
Yes.
You've seen all of them? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and actually, and I wrote about this for Midwest Film Journal. But they were going to do a series back when No Time to Die was originally supposed to come out in like April 2020. And I signed up to write something for that. And I didn't want to just, pick some random James Bond movie and write about that. So I literally binged all, I think it was 24 of them. I think I did like 4 a day. And I was lucky because it was, I started it when my boss was on vacation. So there was a lot of, if you're listening to this, Rick, no, I didn't. But there was a lot of watching it out of the side of my eye at work. And yeah, I watched them all just back to back to back. And it was kind of mind numbing in some regards, but you really, one of the things that I learned was that every James Bond in every era still has good movies. Like, I think popular opinion is that Roger Moore is probably the weakest, but he still has one of the best films in the James Bond franchise. And it's escaping me off the top of my head, but it was, I want to say Live and Let Die. I'll pull it up here in a few minutes.
He did Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yes, Spy Who Loved Me is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a big sucker for A View to a Kill.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Nice.
I don't remember which one that one is off the top of my head. But yeah, I really, I mean, it's impossible to talk about movie history extensively without mentioning James Bond.
Yeah.
It's one of the most iconic characters in movie history.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know offhand how many Bond movies are on the list?
On the Ebert list?
Yeah.
This is the only one.
Oh, okay. I think
Really?
we covered that last time. We figured that. That's interesting. What interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you guys know what Bond movie kind of got you into Bond? Like,
Goldeneye.
Goldeneye for me too. Because I mean, I think it's common for our generation because the franchise had been idle for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And we were a little young when it was, and so it came back with a vengeance in like 96 or 97 with Goldeneye. And I was blown away by that fucking movie.
For me, it was more the video game before the movie.
Yeah, right.
I think I had played the video game before I even saw the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I would say, I mean, I never saw any of the Pierce Brosnan movies. I never got into Bond back then. I've still never seen them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Casino Royale kind of piqued my interest a little bit, but honestly, it was a day in like 2013. I just blind bought the Bond 50 Blu-ray set, and I would say honestly, I think a mix between Goldfinger and Thunderball are the two that really got me more into James Bond. And also that box set is amazing.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
There's some really good special features and everything. And but kind of reflecting back and going back and rewatching this, it didn't really hold up for me. So I'm kind of curious if, I mean, it's been like 9 years since I really watched a bunch of Bond movies in quick succession. So maybe next year I might do something with it.
Okay.
But I don't know. But I mean, this was fine. It has like some good iconography. Like I said, the car, that whole chase sequence. I really like Roger Moore's interactions with Q, but Sean Connery has his own rhythm with Q in his movies. With what is his name? Desmond something. Oh God. Okay.
Desmond Llewellyn.
Desmond Llewellyn, yeah, who plays Q. But like this one had I mean, there's one scene, but there's just a really fun back and forth, like a ejector seat. You're joking. I never joke about my work, Mr. Bond. It's really good, but I really like Roger Moore, his interactions with Q later in the franchise. But Goldfinger's fine. It's interesting. I will have to go back and rewatch those early ones to kind of chart my interest in it. But I remember I really liked Thunderball specifically because it was the most. It was the one that that Austin Powers really riffed off of.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys about that because I feel like, especially Goldfinger, Austin Powers is really riffing on. My question to you guys would be just if Austin Powers never existed, would we think of the James Bond franchise better? You know, I feel like
that's a good
I feel
question.
like Austin Powers kind of took the wind out of the franchise a little bit. You know, granted, those Roger Moore movies can get pretty silly.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if it's a degree of better or worse. I think it's just a degree of, I mean, I think back when Austin Powers was huge, you know, 99 to 2004 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
It was really, really hard to take Bond seriously. For us, at least, for our generation, again, you know, who were big Austin Powers fans. I do think it has, again, maybe just for our generation, has tainted the Bond franchise forever, because I can't take Blofeld seriously.
No, yeah.
I just can't. And that's a bummer, because he's, you know, except for, I mean, what's his name? Did a pretty damn good job lately.
Christoph Waltz.
Waltz. It's kind of hard to not like him or be impressed by him. But like Donald Pleasance playing Blofeld back in, I can't remember which. Was he?
He was in a lot of them, I think.
He's in more than one. Yeah. I can't really. It's hard to take him seriously. Any villain stroking a cat, I mean, it's just, it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just the generational thing where, you know, it just is what it is. It's not, I can't fault Austin Powers. I can't fault Bond either. It's just a funny situation.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting question because I feel like, and yeah, there were other spy spoofs, I'm sure, but I mean, for our generation, like Austin Powers was it. But it's not necessarily like Bond. It wasn't like up until that point, Bond was taken super seriously, because Bond is silly in and of itself. Like you said, Tiny, it's all relative. Like how grounded it is relative to the rest of the franchise. Like even Blofeld, I think at the beginning of maybe The Spy Who Loved Me, like the kind of pre-credits scene is him like getting like Blofeld's end basically or something, and he's like he lifts him up in a helicopter, and Blofeld is yelling like please don't like it. He drops him in like a chimney or something for some plane. I don't know what it was, but it was something really ridiculous. Yeah. And then like I remember him saying like, I'll buy you a delicatessen. Like what? But like I think that Austin Powers, the power of that is that it took what everyone knew to be silly and over the top and everything, and just made that so much more, and made it like took away the iconography or legacy of Bond and just separated it from the silliness. And like even when watching Goldfinger, like when Oddjob demonstrates the hat thing, I'm like in my head I'm like, who throws a hat? Honestly, because in Austin Powers he throws the shoe. And it's just amazing because in it, I would also say, as someone who came to Bond late, like after being familiar with Austin Powers, I would say that Austin Powers makes Bond a little more enjoyable because they don't do a lot of heavy lifting to make those. They don't stretch out a lot for their satire, for their parody, because a lot of it's just very much present in Bond. Yeah.
I think the last 2 or 3 Pierce Brosnan ones really suffered because of Austin Powers. I mean, they weren't very good. I can't even remember what the hell they're called, but I think they really suffered because of that. And thankfully they put it on the back burner for a few years and recast, and then they came out with Casino Royale, which is one of the most successful ones of the franchise, and rejuvenated the franchise. But yeah, it's a fun juxtaposition, or it's a fun comparison to look at. Yeah.
Did one of the Pierce Brosnan ones, was Halle Berry in it?
Yeah,
okay.
That was the last one.
Okay,
and called "Die Another Day."
Yeah, and her character. I might be getting this wrong, but isn't like her character named Christmas or something? And then no,
I don't remember.
Her, that was a different Pierce. That was a different
Pierce Brosnan one.
That was what's her name?
Denise Richards?
Maybe. But Halle Berry's name was Jinx.
Jinx. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whoever played Christmas, I remember, like, I know that the, like, final line of the movie, or one of the lines of the movie is, like, after the sex scene, they're like, I thought Christmas only came once a year, or something like that.
Oh, my God.
Yep. That happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Jeez.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what did you guys think of the big finale of Goldfinger? We're going to probably lay... well, we can be vague about it. We don't need to go into spoilers or anything, but I will say that the 007 thing on the timer, if I remember correctly, I think that it was completely coincidental.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I want to say that that's the case, that that wasn't in the script or anything. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, what did you guys think of the big finale?
It was really fun, I thought. It's another thing that I picked up on while watching all of these back to back, is how the villain's plan isn't necessarily for like world domination.
Yeah.
It's more often just total chaos, pitting one superpower against the other. And I think this is one of the more interesting ways to go about that. Fort Knox has always, at least to me, felt very kind of like mysterious, or it's had this kind of air of like mysticism about it. So it feels very weird weird in a good way, to have a plot to disrupt the world economy based on something in Fort Knox, which I've never been to. I don't know if you guys ever had.
No.
Well, I imagine very few people have ever been to.
Right.
But yeah, I liked the way that it played out. I liked the reveal at the end of how the villain is foiled. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. I just love the set of Fort Knox, because it's again, it's a mysterious thing. Like, it's not, it's sort of, I guess, kind of elementary the way it's kind of laid out, because it's just like giant, huge vault doors and like 10-inch steel beams. Like it's like what an elementary school kid would draw Fort Knox to look like.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not accurate, because who the hell knows, but it's still just, it's fun in that. It's fun in a Bond way.
Yeah. I like that it's in America, like the movie,
right?
The final thing, but it also, where was it at in the beginning? Well, it was in Miami Beach at the beginning, but then where was that where they're driving?
Switzerland, I think.
Switzerland, yeah, that was gorgeous.
Yeah,
just like
totally.
Yeah, it reminded me of a Gran Turismo game.
The whole movie was filmed in Europe too.
Oh yeah,
which is funny. Like, it didn't actually, none of it took place in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we wrap up Goldfinger?
Sure.
Right,
so,
guys.
well, actually, just to kind of go back to the franchise overall, this may be better as a Patreon kind of question, but I'm curious with No Time to Die, and Matt, I know you haven't seen it yet, but you don't necessarily need to, but the Daniel Craig movies have been very different from all other previous iterations by, telling this overarching story with James Bond. So I'm curious, since he's no longer going to be James Bond anymore, if you guys want to see that happen again, give this, kind
of serialized kind of thing.
Right. Or would you rather it go back to more standalone adventures?
Tiny, what do you think?
I'm not necessarily. I'm not keen on them doing an overarching over 5-6 movies storyline. That doesn't have to happen. I'm fine if it does. I think what's important is they continue to drive character, though, because I mean, these. What did you do? 6 movies? Was this the 6th one? 6?
Yes. No, 5.
It was 5.
Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, No Time to Die.
5. these 5 movies are some of the best character development of the last 60 years of Bond. I mean, it's and that's without question. And I think that's been remarkably satisfying. I think it's the best. I think the character of 007 has been the best with Daniel Craig.
Yes.
And I think that's something I've always been attracted to, because one of my other like top 5 Bond movies is On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh yeah.
Which is is it still the only movie where he's ever been married? He ever gets married?
I think so.
I don't think he didn't get married. Daniel Craig didn't get married, did he?
I don't think so.
He was engaged,
right,
to Vesper, Vesper Lind, but he didn't actually marry her. So I mean, and that's like one of my favorite movies, my favorite Bond movies, because there's so much character. There's so much character to the character.
Yeah,
and I really love that. And so I think if they stick to that formula, it's great. But as far as an overarching story, I think it was cool. It was a cool experiment with these 5 movies, and I think that experiment worked. But I don't think they need to replicate it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same, because I feel like that franchise filmmaking is so just prevalent now. Like,
right.
It's so like everything's a franchise. Everything is conceived as a franchise and everything. And I would love for Bond to go back to one-off Bond.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure there is a way for them to do that and still make him feel like a real character.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because, you know, before Daniel Craig's movies, he really wasn't. You know? He was just a super spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Skyfall especially was just an absolutely remarkable movie.
Yeah.
I think that's top 2 or 3 ever, in my opinion.
I go back and forth between that one and Casino Royale.
Yeah. Just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to just revisit them at some point, all of them.
I need to do that. Yeah, I need to do that too.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that it for Goldfinger?
Yep.
All right. Shall we go ahead and discuss the thumbs up, if it's on our list, and our letterbox ratings, Ben?
This go around, I gave it 4.5 stars. Yes, thumbs up. And, you know, it is tempting to say, no, this wouldn't go on my list and just replace it with just another James Bond movie. But I think this one would go on my list because, like I said, it lays the groundwork for the rest of the franchise so well in all of those ways. So, yeah, I think it would go on my list. That's not to say that it would be the only James Bond movie on my list, but yeah.
Nice. Tiny?
Yeah, thumbs up for me for sure. I give it 4 stars. And it would go on my list for the same reason. I think it's sort of I don't know about course correct. It's not the right word, but it set the path for the whole franchise. More than the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah, so it would definitely be on my list, yeah.
Nice. I respect that. I give it a thumbs up and 3 stars on Letterboxd, and I probably wouldn't put it on a great movies list for myself. I would probably sub in 1 or 2 other Bond movies, probably On Her Majesty's Secret Service and Thunderball.
Sweet.
For me, but that's judging from watching those back in 2013, so who knows. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was good. It did the actor playing Goldfinger, if I'm not mistaken, was all of his dialogue dubbed over?
Most of it.
That sounds right.
Okay, because I vaguely remember a piece of trivia about that. But anyway,
he was like trying to speak English, but he was like unintelligible. So the dubbing like worked really well.
Okay,
because
it was still matching.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it was good. It was solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Shall we move on to our final movie of the night? 1979's Alien.
Let's do it.
All right, and I'm going to play a clip from the trailer for Alien right now.
What the hell is that?
You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you? Perfect organism.
The emergency disrupt system is now activated. The ship will detonate in T-minus 10 seconds. Oh, God. It's moving right towards you. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, and Alien came out in 1979, and Tiny chose it for this edition of the Ebert's Great Movies List series on Obsessive Viewer. Tiny, do you want to hit us with the plot summary and why you chose this movie for the list?
Yes, the plot summary for 1979's Alien. The crew of a commercial spacecraft encounter a deadly life form after investigating an unknown transmission. I picked this. This is a top 20 favorite movie of mine. I love this movie. I think for me, this movie it sticks with me so much because of the imagery. And I think it's imagery which is twofold. First and foremost, the literal images of the film, which can be chalked up largely to, I think, H.R. Giger, who was the kind of the conceptual artist for so much of the set and the creature and some of the other alien life form stuff, or biology, I guess is a good word for it. It's very haunting, and if you look at H.R. Giger's other work, it's you can't not react to it. Yeah. It's one of those things. You're not looking at a landscape. You're not looking at a desert landscape. It's going to make you feel something. It's going to make you feel nauseous or aroused, or who knows what it's going to make you feel.
Combination of both.
It's very odd. And I'm not saying that I don't have any H.R. Giger art or anything, but it has always stuck with me since I saw this movie for the first time when I was a teenager. And also I think the other side of the imagery coin is the whole, all of the kind of classic themes of the movie, man versus nature, and the whole technological aspect with the robot cyborg thing, the whole sort of perfect organism kind of thing is just a really fascinating theme. And also the movie is just absolutely terrifying. It brings so many things together: the isolation of being in space, the threat of, on the other side of the wall of this spaceship is the void of space, and it would kill me in a second. And then you add into that a perfect organism that can hunt you down and you stand no chance of surviving against. So it's just so many levels of horror and science fiction all coming together in one movie. And my dad is also a huge fan of this movie. He kind of introduced me to it, and he talked about when this movie came out. He was younger than we are now when this movie came out, and he talked about reading in the newspaper that some people were like fainting during screenings, and people were vomiting during screenings and walking out, and it's
aroused.
But yeah, it was a very unique movie at the time, and it had a huge impact just on the ether, the zeitgeist at the time, and I think it's been influential. There's a lot of sci-fi and horror movies that sort of borrow elements from this movie. And I also love the simplicity of it. There's one creature, one setting, one crew, and it's just, again, kind of it's a very, very simplistic, but its own movie at the same time. So
yeah, and it kind of sort of defies space sci-fi to an extent, especially of the era, because it's 2 years after Star Wars, and we have blue collar, like working people, like
truckers in space.
Truckers in space, yeah.
Yep.
And like a big part of it is like, the Parker and what's his name, like talking about their bonus and getting a full share and everything, and then it comes to light that the company is just kind of they're expendable, and it's just like that level, like that feels just so different from like what you would see in another sci-fi space movie. It's like the darker kind of recesses of like what the future would hold in like futurism and everything. And that's something I just really like. And to your point, honey, yes, it's one creature, but like the way that this movie kind of melds together, like, again, I'm going to say this again, like a slasher kind of movie with a creature feature with like a confined space, like almost home invasion type of movie thing. And just puts it all together into just this very, very, confined sci-fi horror movie, and the tension is so great. The kind of industrial level of the industrial kind of aesthetic of the ship is just like, it adds so much to the atmosphere and everything in the mood and the tension. It is an incredible, like, incredibly tense and well constructed horror movie, sci-fi horror movie. Yeah. Ben, what's your history with Alien?
So I just watched this for the first time in preparation for this episode, which I think that was the first time, I think, was sometime in October of last year.
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
And I guess we should clarify for the listeners, we all watched the theatrical cut, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was my first experience with it, and yes, I didn't really know anything about it going into it, other than this is the one that had the tagline like "Only in space, no one can hear you scream."
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah, that was pretty much the extent of it. Plus, I will say the only ones that I had seen before this was Prometheus. Randomly, because I don't know if I knew at the time that it was connected to the Alien franchise.
Interesting.
I don't know. It looked interesting at the time, if I remember right. And I saw Alien versus Predator. So that was really the extent of my experience with the franchise. And yeah, I really liked it. The first time that I watched it, it was for all of the reasons that you guys said. It just felt like the birth of a new genre of space horror, and this was the kind of the birth of that genre, right? Or was there?
No, well,
I'm sure there might have been like independent kind of.
I think. Well, I think that there's a lot of like B movies from like the 50s and 60s that were like space, kind of like space creature features, basically.
Right. But were they more horror focused?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think that this was probably one of the first or one of the most prominent, like, prominent movies, basically.
Just took it mainstream.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And yeah, the design of the creatures, the scares, they were all really great, even coming from a horror skeptic like myself. Yeah, just, and yeah, to your point, Matt, about this perspective of space, like what if being in space actually kind of sucked?
Yeah.
That was really interesting to me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this movie. While I was watching it, I was just sitting there thinking, like, this is on my top 25, right? Like, this has to be on my top 25. It's not. It's like I'm still working on like a top 50, but it's probably like in the low 30s.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that I have in my top 25 Sunshine, Danny Boyle's Sunshine, which borrows just heavily from this movie.
Yeah.
Like it is it is very much like wall-to-wall homage to Alien and other space movies. But yeah, just the tone and atmosphere of this movie is what gets me. And the kind of the way that the movie demonstrates like that it sucks to be in space kind of feel, but also the way that it's something that feels like really procedural to an extent, or like methodical, the way that they're like, okay, we have this problem on the ship. We need to isolate the problem. We need to get rid of the problem. And it's almost like this distance to it, like a distance from humanity to an extent. But it's just like, I don't know, like they're putting together, like they're formulating the idea of like, okay, we need to trap the alien and get rid of it. Like just the kind of methodology of that's really satisfying to me, in a kind of abstract sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Ben mentioned that we all saw the theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
Since this was your first time, Ben, I'm guessing you've never seen the director's cut. Have you ever seen the director's cut, man?
I have, but it's been since like 2013.
Okay.
I feel like actually, I think the first time that I watched it might have been the director's cut.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I much prefer it. I think it adds a lot to the movie.
It has the harvesting scene,
the
right?
cocooning, of Henry Dean Stanton and Tom Skerritt.
Yeah,
and then that just adds another level of. It's really disturbing.
Yeah,
how it's using them as a host and cocooning, or saving them for later like a spider would.
Yeah,
and that's I can't believe that wasn't in the theatrical.
I know,
because it's so effective.
Yeah,
and just especially when. I think Ripley, she like stumbles upon Tom Skerritt's character, and I can't remember. It's been too long since I've seen it. I think he tells her to kill him.
I think so.
And it's just like, dear God.
Yes. Now that I think about it, I think I did watch the director's cut because I was waiting for that scene to happen in the theatrical cut, and it didn't come.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. Right. It's kind of funny though, because if I remember right, like both of those cuts have almost the same runtime.
Something like that.
About, yeah,
it's something like that.
I will say that I don't know if this full Blu-ray set is still available. I was looking on Amazon, but it may have been like repackaged in a smaller set. But the Alien like quadrilogy Blu-ray set is like one of the best Blu-ray sets I've ever
It's very
seen.
good.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Back in like 2013 I dove deep into it, or 2014 I think, and did a full review on the website for it. But
nice.
It's just amazing. Like so many good special features.
Well, that leads me to my question. Which one would you guys say this is the best of the franchise?
I would.
Yeah, without question. Yeah.
A lot of people lean towards Aliens.
Yeah.
Right.
The Jim Cameron one, which is a good one, and it's good, but I love the simplicity of this one. I'm a big fan of when it comes to especially heavy genre movies like horror movies, less is more.
Yeah.
Right.
Less is more.
Yes.
And I think the creature has like 8 minutes of screen time in this movie, and it is so goddamn effective. And in Jim Cameron's movie, which is a good movie, I think there's like 6 creatures.
So it's insane,
and which is fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it takes away some of the allure and the horror of it.
But then again, like Aliens is like a kind of flipping everything on its head too.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like not even like a horror movie. It's a straight up like military action movie.
Right.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of love for Alien 3 and I don't understand that at all.
I think that's just contrarian.
Yeah, I honestly think so too.
Yeah. It's not a good movie.
No, it's not. Ben, have you aside from Prometheus, have you seen any of the other Alien movies?
I saw Aliens.
Okay. You already covered this, didn't you? Sorry.
No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
Well,
you said AVP.
Right. Yeah. That before I watched Alien for the first time, yes, that was all that I had seen. So I've seen Aliens, and Prometheus, and I think that's it. I was fully planning on watching all of them, but just never got around to it.
Yeah.
This kind of tangent, but did either of you guys end up watching the Alien on Stage documentary from Heartland last year?
I completely forgot about that.
I really wish I would have. I didn't get around to it.
It's really great.
Yeah, it looks so good.
I don't know if or where it's available right now, but if anyone is able to find it, I would definitely recommend it. Basically, this very small community theater troupe in England stages a very low budget Alien recreation on stage, and they end up actually going to like the West End and playing at this big theater.
Oh wow.
And it's like they do all the props themselves, but they basically do a remake of Alien as faithfully as they can.
That's
and it's
awesome.
It's really great.
That's crazy.
Highly recommend it.
Nice. It's really interesting too that we did Psycho and now Alien, and both have like iconic like death scenes about midway through the movie. The chestburster scene, just like masterful, absolutely perfect.
In my opinion, it's almost as iconic as the shower scene.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think anything could ever top the shower scene, but it's up there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the filmmaker who did the documentary 7852 about the shower scene also did a documentary about Alien, which I didn't watch, but it's called Memory, the Origin of Alien, I think. I've heard mixed things about it, and honestly, that Blu-ray set is packed so much with special features and like feature-length documentaries about it. I don't think there's enough uncovered stuff about Alien that I haven't already seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's interesting if you want to check that out.
Yeah. I'm kind of a big fan and a defender of this whole franchise because I think the first two movies are easily defendable. But then it kind of goes off the rails from there. The third movie is just not good.
Yeah.
And Alien Resurrection requires an immense amount of disbelief suspension.
Yeah,
and
I'm somewhat of a defender.
Me too. I think again, story wise and thematically, I think it's a pretty cool movie.
Yeah,
but it's got quite a few issues with it.
My main surprise with Alien Resurrection, which I haven't seen since 2014, but my big surprise with it is that it was at least partially written by Joss Whedon.
Yes,
and it feels like the prototype. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up. The prototype for Firefly. Like,
yeah, totally.
It has that energy to it.
Right.
It also has one of several 90s Leland Orser freakout scenes.
Right.
Like late 90s.
Yeah.
I want to see a supercut of like the 4 or 5 times that he's like freaking out on screen.
Every other movie was him going nuts. Yeah. And then I think the two most recent Prometheus and Alien Covenant, I think again it sticks to the themes well, and it has its issues, but they're fun. And I am a fierce defender of Alien versus Predator.
Interesting.
I think that is a good movie.
Nice.
Like seriously, I think that's a really cool concept for a movie. The sequel, I think it was called
Requiem.
Was unwatchable.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just a fan of the franchise. I think it's really fun. I don't know that they need to continue it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything in the works, but
I know Ridley Scott has wanted to make a third prequel.
Okay.
Like he had an idea for it, but I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame him. Again, I'm not chomping at the bit to see another Alien movie.
Yeah.
I'd be cool if they shelf it for a while and maybe someone else takes it over at some point, but it doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
By any stretch. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Alien?
I don't think so. There's a cool, I should have looked it up. There's a cool documentary on H.R. Giger.
Oh yeah.
It came out probably 4 or 5 years ago. I should have looked it up. It's really interesting. Let me find it.
You can't, and Matt, you may be the same way, but you can't mention H.R. Giger to me and not think of Matt Gorley.
Matt Gorley. Yeah. On several podcasts. He does the character of H.R. Giger. Yeah. Is it? Hang on.
I'm trying to find it.
Dark Star H.R. Giger's Walt? No. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyways, just Google it, I guess.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it on IMDb.
Yeah, interesting.
Anyways, it's interesting. If you're interested in his art, it's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. All right, so shall we go around the horn and do ratings, thumbs up, and whether or not it would be on our own individual great movies lists?
Sure.
All right, Tiny, since this was your pick, do you want to go for it?
Yes. Obviously, thumbs up from me, 4.5 stars. And yeah, definitely on my greatest movies list.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ben, how about you?
Thumbs up. I gave it 4 stars both times. And I think I would not put it on my great movies list.
Interesting.
Not because I didn't like it, not because I don't want to rewatch it again, but I think, and this was probably totally coincidental, but I actually happened to watch this in very close proximity to what I would replace it with, which is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which deals a lot with similar kind of things, this confined horror kind of thing and sci-fi. But I think that one left a more lasting impression on me. So that's what I would replace it with.
John Carpenter's The Thing is a top 5 for me.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Yeah.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in several years.
Yeah.
That's a really good pick to replace it too.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Is The Thing on Ebert's list?
It is not. Nor are any other John Carpenter movies.
Oh, wow.
Bitch.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, I give it a thumbs up. 4.5 stars. Definitely on my great movies list.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I will say the first time I ever saw it, I borrowed your Blu-ray of it, I think, Tiny, back in, I want to say 2010.
Okay.
And I remember specifically that it was Carb Day in Speedway.
Nice.
And I'm an agoraphobic person, so I just watched Alien, and I was like, this is one of my favorite movies now.
Nice.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, well, that is part 11 of the Ebert's Great Movies List review. To kind of give an overview, all three of us gave all 3 thumbs ups gave all 3 movies thumbs up, and with the exception of me with Goldfinger and Ben with Alien, we would all put these movies on our lists. Yeah, so to kind of round us out, let's go ahead and do our picks for next time, which hopefully we'll get to the next installment sooner. Ideally, I would like to do it before I move. So we'll see how that all pans out. But how shall we do it? Do we have like an order that we go into?
I don't think so.
I don't think we do.
Okay. Well, for funsies, let's just do chronological order from the movies. So from the movies from this one. So we'll go.
Dang.
We'll go in order. So I'll go first, and then Ben, and then Tiny.
Okay.
So my pick for the next Ebert's Great Movies List episode is 1974's The Conversation, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. I'll read the plot summary just real quick. Surveillance expert Harry Call is hired by a mysterious client's brusque aide to tail a young couple. Tracking the pair through San Francisco's Union Square, Call and his associate Stan managed to record a cryptic conversation between them. Tormented by memories of a previous case that ended badly, Call becomes obsessed with the resulting tape, trying to determine if the couple are in danger. And the reason that I picked this, I have never seen it, but the reason I picked it is that it is currently playing at the Can Theater here in Indianapolis. I'm seeing it tomorrow, Wednesday, the February 9th at 5 p.m. So if you guys listen to this and want to go see it, I don't know if I'll have this up in time. But anyway, it is playing at the Can. It is also streaming, I think, on Hulu.
Cool.
But it's The Conversation with Gene Hackman. directed by Francis Ford Coppola, which is interesting because next 2 weeks from Thursday, I will be seeing The Godfather in Dolby at AMC because they're doing like the 50th anniversary kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So I'm very excited about that. But so yeah, two Frankie Ford Coppola movies. But The Conversation is my pick for next time. And Ben, do you want to hit us with yours?
Yeah, I've also never seen that one, so I'm excited.
Either, yeah. Nice.
All right, so I had a couple that I was going back and forth on between for this one. But I think what I'm actually going to pick is one of my favorite movies of all time from my favorite director of all time, and that is My Neighbor Totoro.
Nice.
From Hayao Miyazaki, 1988. Plot description. Two sisters move to the country with their father in order to be closer to their hospitalized mother and discover the surrounding trees are inhabited by Totoros, magical spirits of the forest. When the youngest runs away from home, the older sister seeks help from the spirits to find her.
Sweet.
Nice. And of course, it's streaming on HBO Max.
Correct.
Along with all of Studio Ghibli stuff, basically.
Sweet.
Nice. Awesome.
Cool. My choice, I made this completely on a whim. I've never seen it before, and so that I wanted to pick something I'd never seen. 1955's Rebel Without a Cause.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I don't think I've ever actually seen any
James
Dean movies before.
Yeah.
I don't think I have. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's the only one I've seen.
Okay.
I've never seen it either.
It's from Indiana.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I believe I was supposed to see it in a film class at USI, and then I just didn't go to that class. So that's awesome. So next time on the Ebert's Great Movies List review series section thing, Ebert's Great Movies List Part 12, we are going to cover... what year did... Oh, yeah, okay. We're going to cover Rebel Without a Cause, My Neighbor Totoro, and The Conversation. So look forward to that. And
Rebel Without a Cause is streaming.
Oh,
HBO Max.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, you guys have your assignments, and let us know what you thought about these movies. And Ben, once again, why don't you go ahead and plug themoviestate.com and tell us some of the stuff that you have going up.
Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, I'll have posted an interview with a documentary filmmaker about extreme skiing called La List. Really interesting documentary. It'll be out on VOD, I believe, February 16th.
Nice.
I'll have a review of the new Shonda Rhimes Netflix limited series called Inventing Anna. Hopefully soon I'll also be doing a review of the Kanye West documentary series on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And then some kind of thing about some guy named Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about that.
That'll come up around the end of the month.
Yep.
And then we'll keep chugging along with that for the next couple months.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And next time on the podcast, I don't know what I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, I guess that'll do it for this episode of The Obsessive Viewer. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Well, you still can in this apartment. But yeah, all right. Well, once again, check out Patreon. I've been doing a lot of stuff on Patreon, immediate movie reviews. I'm probably going to have an immediate car review of The Conversation. I'm also probably going to post a thing for Death on the Nile on there too. And then I have a ticket for that Blacklight movie on Thursday.
Blacklight.
Yeah, no idea. Liam Neeson, I guess.
Oh shit! Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So
why?
We'll see. I just to be honest, it's just to get credit for Fandango.
Nice.
Because I think I mentioned on another episode, I have a list through AMC. If you reserve your ticket through Fandango, every 4 tickets you get $5 credit for Vudu.
Yep. Nice.
So I bought Ready or Not for $2 or $3 with that credit. Yeah. So on Vudu.
Cool.
Yep. So anyway, on Patreon, I have a bunch of stuff on there. Patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. I'm glad people support us there. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play this out. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time. And now, here's a short clip from our Patreon exclusive RSS feed. To hear the full clip and more exclusive Patreon content, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and become a patron at the minimum rate of $1 per month. Thank you and enjoy. So like, I kind of feel like maybe the whole scene with like Denise Richards and the detective is supposed to be like this level of self-awareness or homage, or not homage, but like, if it's supposed to be this scene where you're hinting at titillation, you're hinting at eroticism, but then denying it, like the character, the nerdy kid was denied, Jimmy, I think is his name, was denied, the dances and everything. So I wonder if that's supposed, again, that's okay. For instance, like, sure, that is possible. But again, I think I'm giving Jamie Blanks and the crew of this movie and the producers and everything way too much credit, because
this podcast was edited and produced by Matt Hurt and presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find links to all of our shows at ObsessiveViewer.com/podcasts. For exclusive bonus content, including reviews, commentaries, and B-roll episodes, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.